This session is called Building a Pipeline of Job-Ready Tech Talent. And Sunil PP, India and South Asia Lead of Education Skills, NPO Space Channels and Alliances at AWS. Wow, you handle a lot, Sunil. Will moderate a vital discussion on creating a skilled workforce ready for the technological demands of the future. And I think it's the hottest topic at the event this year. So let's please welcome our moderator and the panelists.
Got a bunch of questions. Let's do a quick round of introductions. Like I was introduced, I'm Sunil. I run the AWS business for education, nonprofit skills, and a bunch of other things, including channels and alliances now as a digital charter. That's what I do. Been with AWS for the last 5+ years.
I'm Sanjeev Singh. I'm from University of Delhi.
Hi, I'm Dr. Prem Maheshwari. I'm the Regional Director South Asia for a company called D2L, which is into learning management platforms. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bipin. I manage the enterprise business at Coursera for both academia and corporates. So good to see all of you.
Okay, given such brief introductions, right, it's going to be a very quick panel, okay? Get ready for that. I think we have an interesting topic. We spoke about it, building a pipeline for job-ready tech talent. I think as at AWS, we've been doing a bunch of work trying to drive that in, to try and drive a whole bunch of programs to try and improve skilling in the country. We've had a couple of partners in the audience also who's worked with us over the last couple of years to try and improve that number on the whole. Let me open up this conversation broadly, top of mind, to all three of you all, starting with Sanjeev. What do you think the current state of tech-ready talent in India is? What is your view?
I think this is a very exciting question, and I think it's a dichotomy where, you know, all the stakeholders, we are just sitting and waiting that somebody would initiate. All of us are ready. I mean, academia is ready and they're saying, we have the talent, please come. Industry is waiting that how to approach them. And there is something which we have been struggling for a very long time, that what is the mechanism where, your topic today is the pipeline, right? So pipeline exists, but it's a virtual. There is no physical pipeline could exist. So we need to work on a workflow or the model where we can actualize this so-called pipeline so that we can connect all the stakeholders together without any, administrative nuances and all. I mean, we can talk about it later, but this is what is the crux, what we have been facing for the last 1 decade almost.
So, the issue today is, much serious in the sense that there's a lot of disconnect between the academia, the industry, and the students. And the reason is that the students today who are in the universities and institutions were born in 2000s. They were born amidst technology. They understand technology much better than us. They use technological devices much better than us. And the expectation, therefore, is that when they go to institutions for learning and even training when they join jobs, the expectation is that the teachers, the faculties, the trainers must be in sync with their expectations, which is not happening. Because perhaps we're not properly enabling the faculties, and that's one major disconnect that is leading into disruption of a lot of activities, and also, of course, the job-ready pipeline. So that's my view on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bipin?
Yeah, I mean, I think this debate has been going on for a while in terms of, and I think we've seen all those really sober metrics out there in the press about X percentage of engineers not fit for jobs and things like that. And I think the good thing I feel is the problem is well understood. I think how we are solving for it is, I feel the good thing, I mean, I know Sir said that there's always this waiting period for industry and academia to talk, but I feel like industry is now playing a much more active role as an educator itself, which I think is a great sign. Like people like AWS producing a lot of educational content, right? I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it, but I think the role of industry as an educator in conjunction with academia itself, I think is really increasing, and platforms like us help distribute that faster. I think that's the way the problem statement is clearly, I mean, I would believe the problem is solved when, I don't know if somebody from Infosys is there, where there's no need for a Mysore campus, a palatial university for Infosys to hold students for 6 months, 8 months post-graduation. I mean, I think that's when we would have solved the problem.
Okay. This question is for Sanjeev. I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I don't know how many of you all know this, but Dr. Sanjeev was instrumental in building something called the Samarth platform for education. It is a national platform for higher education now. It came out of the Delhi University campus. And we worked very closely to build that with sir. And I think the question really is around, how do you think technology, what is the role technology plays in trying to improve this skilled pipeline requirement in the market?
Right. I think this is this is something the government is talking about it. They are setting up the centers around skilling and all that. They are, funding all those such projects, big projects. They're setting up hundreds of centers across the university for skill development program. Various other bodies, they have been encouraged. They have promoted to set up the skill centers. Recently, we have launched the skill centers in Delhi University with the help of the government. And the target is humongous. The target, what is given to us, is humongous. So there's a huge demand for this skill, right? So at the same time, we are talking about the upskilling and the reskilling, right? So the capabilities of the universities are good enough proven in terms of designing the curriculum, designing, the syllabi, and designing the different kind of skill program, right, for the undergraduate level, postgraduate level, even for the research students. But when it comes to the industry connect, then it becomes a very difficult task because, industry says that the last mile is not being addressed, right? So the last mile is keep changing over a period of time. And that is happening because we don't have any constant engagement with the industry and the corporates. And whenever we have, we get the very limited, inputs from them. And I think we need to seriously address this issue of, we are sitting in the islands and islands are not talking to each other. And then we are complaining that, what to do now? So this is a very, very, dangerous situation for us. And we have the large pool of certified skilled, manpower or the resource with us at different levels, right? And somehow we found, end of the day, they are not eligible. Who's going to certify them, right? So every industry, every corporate, they have the different benchmarks, different type of certifications, right? For that particular connect, what we are looking forward, right? And that is not available in the ecosystem. Recently, all of you are aware of the national education policy that have been implemented, right? And this is a fantastic framework. And we have introduced a large number of, open general elective and the value-added courses, skill-based courses, and many, many more, right? And it's an amazing framework, right? Similarly, the qualification framework is already deployed. But I would like to know from the industry that what is the opinion of your, on national, education policies? Because we have the internship, we have the projects, we have the industry training and all. So is it not sufficient for industry to look at it and just collaborate and just go ahead and and set up a roadmap for next 5 years? Okay, that is how we'll go ahead. And these are the domains where we need, the skilled manpower so that institutions are aware of what they have to design, they have to deliver, and industries, they don't have to worry about. This is what is happening.
Prem, the same question to you.
So I think what you rightly said is that the disconnect between the industry and academia still exists. And I think we've been talking about this in a large number of such kind of conferences, but the solution is not seen yet. What I feel is that I think industry associations, for example, IT industry association, pharma industry association, car manufacturing industry associations need to take an initiative to build certain mentorship programs for the industry be given to the academia, and those programs be picked up by students based on their respective interest, leading into industry-specific certifications. Now, that will have triple effects. Industry is motivated to prepare students who will be job ready immediately in the pipeline. Once they finish their courses, they are immediately accepted by that particular industry. B, since the industry associations will be given certifications, this becomes a motivation for the students as well as parents, and then they're getting a certifications to enrich their biodata and curriculum vitae. And also for the academia, because there's a lot of disconnect. What is taught in the academic institutions is purely syllabi. They don't need to, or they don't like to diverse, go haywire from what is being told to them to follow the curriculum. Now, if there's some industry input and a certification given by the industry, definitely the institutions will also be motivated. Now, today with the availability of AI, ML, and tools and modern technological tools, I think this is absolutely possible. Now, if I ask Sunil that will you be able to mentor hundreds and thousands of students of engineering or IT, it's not practically possible because you have your own priorities. So I think hybrid programs, online programs in these areas could be developed, be offered to large number of students, led by industry associations and certified by industry associations, leading into credentials that's going to help them get jobs later. Also, besides mentorship, there's a concept of clerkship. Clerkship is essentially there are certain live projects given by the industry to the students. They're general in nature, and students do that project to get themselves acclimatized by the industry-specific requirements or project requirements that would be encountered by them when they join jobs, real-life projects. Now, that is not available. What is taught is certain case studies which are already archival. So live case studies, projects which are live, industry-recognized certifications given to them online. I think that's one way where perhaps this gap, what Sir mentioned, could be bridged. That's my opinion on that. Okay. Thanks.
Vipin, I'm going to color slightly differently for you. I think for Coursera, India is the second largest market. Would that be right? Yeah. So I think your learnings would be kind of interesting as to what you're seeing in India.
Yeah. And I think there are pointers I want to take from both of the conversations here, right? First, and I think the way we are approaching it, right? I mean, there's no real way to come and tell people to change, right? I mean, I think in the sense, because we've done this for many, many years. And today, the way the government regulations and curricular frameworks are set up, there are enough placeholders within the curricula to do a lot of innovation. That's what I believe. It's not like there's not enough curricular placeholders there. Like, for example, the way we are approaching it, so we call, we work first as a context, we work with many industry partners, almost 120 industry partners, AWS, Meta, all of these guys, right? So we brought together about 300 roles. We mapped about 300 roles in terms of what kind of skills are required for those roles. And then we actually looked at professional certifications offered by industry. And then the way we are approaching with academia or going to universities is really, we are going and telling them, we call this in our language, career electives. So you have in your curricular framework placeholders for electives, whether you call it program electives, open electives, whatever you want to call it. Why not, if you're a BBA student, why not have a digital marketing certification from Facebook built into your curricula, right? I mean, which is really almost integrating industry content into the curricular framework. And I think that's the kind of approach we have taken, because the fact is, I mean, if you are a well-meaning student, and I'm using well-meaning in quotes, if you're a well-meaning student, your load is pretty high on campus. I mean, like on the curricular load. So you put on top additional skill enhancement, a bunch of courses, it becomes diminishing marginal utility. So therefore, at least the way we are seeing it as working most effectively is build it into the curricular framework itself. So that let's be clear that we want to prepare students to become a pipeline which is ready for industry, then let's just build it into the curricular framework. And that, I think, also puts pressure on the instructors, the teachers, the faculty to actually get equipped, especially with changing technology. I mean, like if your student is learning, I don't know, cybersecurity from Palo Alto, then as a faculty, you better be equipped to be able to have that conversation, right? I mean, I think that hopefully energizes the entire system in terms of for both sides to kind of equip each other. That's how we are approaching it.
And I think what you suggested to build these courses as part of curricula would also fetch the credits as part of the new education system.
Yeah, so I would like to add a couple of things here. You see, all these initiatives are fantastic, very impressive, like whether it's Coursera or many other, these platforms. And if you compare with the government initiatives on the similar lines, you'll find few fantastic initiatives they have been working on very seriously and very aggressively. So on the content and the delivery part and the courses are delivered by one of the platforms which is called Swayam, right? And all the major top ranked institutions, they are taking part in building the curricula, building the syllabus, learning material, and everything is getting delivered through that platform. And if you see, the enrollment onto that platform is maybe 3 to 4 crores, right? And that kind of numbers students are getting into it, right? And it's not like, I beg to differ with one of the statement that the curricula, what we deliver in the classroom is not matching with what industry is looking for. In fact, we have to fine tune a bit, like, as we have been talking about the last mile connectivity is always a problem, whether it's education or the technology. But here the major issue is how and what component you really want us to embed in the delivery, right? This is something which we need to crack immediately. And government bodies, their policies, whether it's the UGC, AICT, or Ministry of Education, in fact, any of the institution, they are very keen, they are very aggressive in terms of what right thing has to be delivered, right? And somehow, and if you compare, I mean, I'll just give you a scenario. If you look at the University of Delhi, for instance, right, we have finest brains of India, right, in terms of the faculty, more than 10,000 brains, right? And if you divide them into the domain-specific expertise, you'll find huge expertise. They have a phenomenal, publishing records and the teaching experience and all that. I don't see any aggressive, platform or the corporate platform where these academicians are being called, right, to develop the mechanism or the workflow so that this, gap can be filled. I rarely see those kind of initiatives. So I really urge you to create some mechanism. Maybe AWS can take lead in that. And DP Singh is right here. I mean, he should think about it. What should be this pipeline is immediately, filled once you have a workflow right in place. So I think if we deliberate upon these issues, I think problem can be cracked.
Yeah, but it's a big problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah, we have to divide into bits and pieces and crack them individually.
But so the question really is this, right? The government has been at it for some time now. I mean, the pandemic, before the pandemic and post-pandemic, I think the market has changed significantly, okay? The receptiveness to technology, for example, on campus, that has changed significantly. Student access to online learning has changed significantly. But yet we see the same questions coming up saying that students not getting the right skill, not coming out in the right skill. And we have a lot of skilling work happening. Yeah?
Right. Yeah. So I would like to, you have given a right example like pandemic, right? Yeah. How many of you were trained during the pandemic that which technology to use, whether it's the school teachers or the classroom teachers or the undergraduates or postgraduate? None of the faculty members was given the training, formal training. And none of the students were trained how to use the technology. And it is so dramatic. Look at India. I mean, crores and crores of students, they've adopted themselves onto those unknown territory, which was the online learning. Right from the kids, right? Kids to the, undergraduate, postgraduate students, they have adopted those technology framework. So this is the beauty of the technology. So we can't blame technology that they are not supporting. It is fantastic, whether it's a technology A, B, C, or D. Now is the time that how we can integrate that technological framework as a part of the pedagogy and embed into the curriculum, right? But suddenly the pandemic, scenario is gone and now everything is back to square one. Even we don't have a single module which is running today that we utilizing all those technology framework. So here is the problem. So industry has to take a next step that, look, that here we need your collaboration or something like that.
Perfect. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think while students and faculty have all adopted online learning, and I think phase one sort of pandemic and sort of post-pandemic, there was this thing that, we need to do content on Coursera keeps coming up, but content on online platforms, or online platforms or digital platforms. Now, I think the next phase really is about skill measurement and learning outcomes. I think there's a lot more conversations today about, fine, now we've gone online, we've done hybrid, we've now digital, and what is the learning outcome? How do we measure the outcome? In the context of this topic, really, it's about what are those skilling signals that we can take to employers, right? And again, technology, I think, plays a big role in being able to showcase that signals. In a country where millions of engineers graduate, how do you differentiate? The good thing is technology has sort of leveled the playing field so that it's not just tier 1 schools or tier 1 colleges that students have the opportunity. Today, any student has the same opportunity. Now, can we use technology better to showcase those signals, proficiency levels, whatever you want to call it, right? Different platforms have different ways of orchestrating that skill measurement. We do it in different ways. I think that will be an important piece going forward, I would say, to make this work at scale.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add one thing. We're talking about getting students skills ready. And the reason is that we want them skills ready because we want them to be job ready. But the problem is that with the onset of technology, with a lot of changes in every industry now using technology, we have to make them life ready instead of skills ready, and then global ready. So I think the focus has to change from being job ready to be life ready, and this encompasses almost everything you're talking about in today's parlance.
Yeah, so when you say the job ready, I'm sorry, I'm taking 1 minute, excuse me. So why I'm saying that, you see, job who is defining, who is going to define what is the job readiness? I mean, if I ask you, if I request you that, what is the eligibility if you're hiring a person for any level, right? You write that the minimum job requirement is at least graduation from any institution. That is the job requirement. So institutions are giving that requirement, fulfilling that requirement. What else? So that is what I'm trying to. Ever you write in your eligibility, any education from anywhere.
That's absolutely
right. So don't blame institutions that we are not providing adequate information or the knowledge to the students that we are not making them job ready. We are making them eligible, right, to take part in that. But the missing component here is what that small fine tuning you need. It could be a life skill, it could be a personality, skills, or it could be many other things. So how we can integrate that into the curriculum?
Absolutely, agreed.
Perfect. This can go on otherwise, okay? I'm going to just change I'm going to jump off script for a bit, okay? So one of the conversations that's been happening with most of the entrepreneurs at the event today, even yesterday, was around AI and Gen AI, okay? I think it's interesting how much of that conversation is happening, okay? And it's not that they're really using in production environments right now, but everyone is testing a Gen AI model that's there, okay? The question really is this, right? When you look at skilling and employability, right? And creating a pipeline, for example, are there any ideas that you think that a Gen AI environment could support a faster growth in that area? It's for all of you all, you can go down.
Yeah, I can talk about some of the stuff. I mean, like, if Jeff is our CEO and he's gone really berserk with respect to Gen AI, and so Gen AI is being built throughout the Coursera platform.
Jeff is your CEO?
Yeah. So he's been like, actually, he just authored I know, it's another Jeff. It's another Jeff. So he's just authored a course on how to navigate Gen AI as a CEO, right, on Coursera. It's really brilliant course. Anyway, the point is, so the way we are operating it is, there is a learner perspective, which is how do you really help the learner by doing personalized recommendations. So we have what we call Coursera Coach, which is a bot. I mean, like everybody does bots. So essentially, when you do a course, how do you summarize? How do you actually, I think the beauty of that is to kind of, like, if I'm doing a data science course and you're asking as a student, I want to, like, why should I do this course? Like, what jobs will come to me if I do this course? Going from that to actual specific questions around that content itself. So we've integrated that into, like, the production environment really right now. That's on the student side. On the faculty side, again, I think it's a very, very interesting piece that I am personally very excited about. So one of the reasons that faculty or the curriculum calls out is, like, I want to contextualize to what I want to teach in my school to what is relevant for my students. So we now have the ability to use AI to actually mix together the faculty's own piece of content with third-party content coming in from a platform like this, so that you create your own course, which is a real custom contextual course to actually drive much more targeted learning as an academic thing. The third use case I would say, which again we launched, is localization and machine translation. So the math that we had is, earlier if you had to translate one course on Coursera to a local language, it used to cost about $13,000. Now it costs us $20 to $25, right? Now almost 95% cost reduction. So we just released about 4,000 courses in Hindi about a month ago. Jeff was here to announce that. In 20 other languages we have done this, even Tamil we are working on and things like that. So I think that's the next era. Whether it is super relevant for India or not, because in higher education at least a lot of them are English speaking, but I think there will be relevance eventually. In other markets, we are seeing significant need for that, right? Like in Southeast Asian countries and things like that, like where English speaking is lesser. So these are three use cases very clearly we are seeing, which is enhancing the learning experience for us. Yeah.
Perfect. Prem?
Yeah, I think AI, generative AI, I mean, is there a choice? Everyone sitting in this room, all of us, need to be trained in that. That's a skill that we need to acquire. Because talk about faculties, talk about institution management, talk about students, parents, anyone and everyone, I think we have to do it. I mean, there's no choice. So since we have to do it, why not do it now? And for that, I think we need to make institutions ready and not just make students job ready. Institutions have a big challenge in adopting new technologies because they relate every new technology adoption to the budgets, to the finances. They're not willing to spend that kind of money at the moment unless it is just very, very important, urgent, being mandated by the governments. Then and only then they will spend money. But the issue is that if they don't spend money now, they think that adapting new technologies is expensive. Let them try it, ignoring it. That's my take on this.
Okay. Right. So I think this is very interesting, points he has just raised, that the institutions are not excited enough to adopt the technology, or they find it challenging, maybe financially, maybe. Somehow there's a disconnect, right? It's not a question of adopting technology, it's more a question of relevance and what is the context. There are a number of technology, and across the country, I mean, if you look around and different institutions, every institutions, they have equipped themselves with some piece of technology, right? So what is happening is, right now the technology is implemented as my choice, not as per the requirement. So somehow the requirement analysis, that's a different ballgame which is missing. And if you are doing something, so I'll replicate that. So I think that was happening for the last 20 years, right? Now institutions, they're getting more matured, right? And they know what they are looking forward and what kind of technology is good for them. But again, because of the expertise, because of the experience in that particular domain, which doesn't exist in most of the institutions, the corporate responsibility is to educate them, right? What is happening right now is they are just interfacing with the selling arm of the technology or the corporate, right? And somehow they're getting disguised and they're misguided and they don't understand, and that is why they are not able to decide. So it doesn't mean they're not capable or they don't have the funding or they find it challenging. No, I think they need proper education and understanding about technology, what they are supposed to implement. So that is one small issue. And now most of the institutions, they are heading towards setting up their own, and thanks to all the cloud providers like AWS, and because they don't have to manage those kind of heavy and bulky infrastructure at place, so they are at ease. I'm one of them, right? So that is giving us a lot of comfort and a lot of value add in terms of the delivery. So right now we are directly focusing on our delivery, what we can deliver out of that, rather than putting our heads onto the managing those complex technologies which you are putting up on their premise and all sort of thing. And coming back to your observation on the how these all flavors of AI kind of things are happening, and how they are supporting, and what kind of job readiness with the AI skilled people and all that. So again, the AI is nothing. There's nothing new about it. It's more than 60 years old concept. It was not happening in the past because of certain limitation, technology limitations. Right now, we are able to achieve that. Computing, thanks to you, computing has become little cheaper, affordable, and all that. So now the thing is, you need the operators of AI, or you need people who really understand AI, right? You need to classify those people. So Gen AI and all these kind of things, they are very much affordable. If I am having $20 per month capacity, I can have the latest version of that. But eventually something is going to happen that my AI is better than your AI. Then there would be a competition between the AIs, right? So people would be developing their own models, right? And all these models are available open source, right? Anybody can build around that. But the now question is that all of us knows that tomato is a fruit, right? But the wisdom is, tomato should not be served in the fruit salad. So how you are going to differentiate with the AIs and implementing the right kind of technology, right, at the right place? So we cannot generalize this, right? So we have to differentiate the wisdom and the knowledge and things like that. And that is the role academic institutions are playing.
Just to pick one point that you mentioned in terms of educating the key decision makers at various institutions, and I'm itching to quote an example that I quoted just a few minutes back to you, was that I'm in the area of educating people about learning management platforms, and I've been in touch with large number of vice chancellors and key decision makers at large universities. Till recently, I've had experience with at least 4 to 5 vice chancellors. When I go to them and tell them that I'm here to talk to you about learning management systems and learning management platforms, the answer is, yeah, we're using learning management platforms. Fantastic, sir. Which platform you're using? We're using Zoom. That's the answer that I get from very educated, very senior vice chancellors. I mean, this is very difficult to explain.
It's not their fault.
Right, so this is
no.
You'll have to intervene here.
It's not their fault. Because if any platform is being used for any kind of teaching and learning method, right, it's a learning management system. So it's not their fault. So they just understand, okay, learning is supported by one of the platform. So it's the LMS for them. So it's not like that.
That's right.
So don't blame them that they are not naive. They're not naive, right? That is what I'm saying. The technology provider had to educate institutions that what are the technologies available, right?
That's the skilling that is required at that level also. That's my point.
No, I appreciate it. But what I'm saying is not their fault.
Yeah, agree.
I'll just close. I think we're running out of time right now. The last question for the last part of the discussion. Let's quickly
But incidentally, we got the momentum.
Let's quickly just round this up, okay? And looking slightly ahead, okay? And if you're looking at saying, what are the top 3 changes that's required for us to actually put together a system where a pipeline is built for skilled talent, right? I think there are a lot of issues and challenges, absolutely yes, but there's a phenomenal opportunity out there. Okay.
First of all, there's only one observation, that these kind of events should happen in the university campus, not in the hotels.
Noted. Okay. And what? Okay. And what are your thoughts around the points I mentioned?
You see, this is really important, right? And once you have large number of academia, you have to look at their faces and you need to interact with them directly, right? And they should be the real audience for you, the administrators and the policymakers, and include the part of the government, right? Government stakeholders. Then suddenly you will see that some policy is getting framed, right? Or if you convert these kind of sessions and convert that into a draft policy document and influence the regulatory body, that will make some sense, right? Right. So I think that should be the outcome of these kind of interactions. So please document. I'll request whatever input you want. I mean, I'll be happy to provide. So framing a policy document.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Prem?
So my take is that I think skilling and enablement at 3 levels. I think there are 4 pillars of a typical education system: the school or institution management, the students, the faculties, and parents to a certain extent. I'll exclude parents because we're talking about higher education. But for these 3 pillars, I think enablement in terms of skilling with the latest technology is a must, because this generation is way ahead of us and we need to match their speed and velocity. If we can't do that, I think there will be perpetual gaps and it will be very difficult to fill them eventually. So I think skilling at these 3 levels: school or institution management, faculties, and students.
So I add 3 V's to your statement, that not only you have to look at the velocity, veracity, and variability.
Absolutely. Thanks for adding that.
Absolutely. Okay. Vipin?
Yeah, I think the way I would look at it is, I think we've always talked about skilling as almost a parallel track to academics in that sense. And I think we are past that world. I feel like skilling and academics are all converging, and we shouldn't be talking those as 2 related but not independent things. That's item number 1. What that means is, if skilling is not different from academics, then the curriculum is no longer sacrosanct, or it's no longer a sacred cow. I mean, like we still continue to think. The curriculum has to become a lot more agile to what happens in the market, right? I mean, like, can we have a BTech in generative AI soon enough? Maybe there are private universities who will bring it. But I think, how quickly can we get that into the curricula? And the third thing I feel, I mean, given the world of no-code platforms and chat GPTs and things like that, the software developer of tomorrow is probably not the same as the software developer of today. But one thing that is constant is, at least from an engineer's perspective, I feel communication skills, soft skills, we continue to struggle. When we, like sir asked about hiring, right? A lot of, I mean, we don't talk enough about those aspects of it, right? I mean, how do you communicate better? How do you get yourself to learn better? You know, things like that. I wonder what is that right balance between what industry can do from a technological skills, technical skills, digital skills, and the social infrastructure, communication skills, and all of that coming in from the actual campuses themselves. I feel like we need to find a good balance there. So that's my sense.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Just for the audience, if you want to see a good Gen AI demo, it's upstairs in the AWS stall, where you can see where you can see a Gen AI demo around interviewing skills and how Gen AI learns and processes that at the back and using Bedrock. So if you have time, please go up there. Thank you so much for joining this. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you.
Absolutely great going.
Thank you.